My name is Napoleon Hill. For more than 25 years, I dedicated my life to studying the habits, the thoughts, and the inner drives of the most successful people in the world. I interviewed over 500 of the most powerful industrialists, business tycoons, and inventors of the 20th century. Men like Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and John D. Rockefeller opened their minds and revealed their truths to me. Not because I was special, but because I asked the right questions. And through those answers, I discovered something. One force, one principle, one invisible but mighty power that every single one of them used to transform their desires into reality. That power is faith, not religious dogma, not blind hope, but faith, the kind you create, nurture, and inject into your thoughts until your subconscious mind begins to obey your commands with unstoppable force. I was not born wealthy. I was not born lucky. In fact, I was born in poverty, surrounded by doubt and limitation. But I learned how to program my mind in such a way that my thoughts would translate into the exact results I wanted. And you can do the same. Faith, as I discovered, is not something you either have or don't have. It is something you build, like a muscle. And once it is strong, it becomes the bridge between your ideas and their material results. Faith is what converts invisible desires into visible wealth. It is what links the finite power of your conscious thought with the infinite intelligence of the universe. I've seen men rise from the gutters to the boardrooms of billion-dollar enterprises simply because they dared to believe, not in what they were, but in what they could become. And that belief, backed by continuous thought and repetition, became their truth. You too can engineer that same belief. It starts not by changing the world outside of you, but by changing the thoughts inside your mind. You are the chemist of your life. Your mind is your laboratory, and the emotions of faith, love, and sex are the most powerful chemicals you can use in that laboratory. When these emotions are blended with a desire and repeated consistently, they change everything. I used to wonder why some people seem to attract success so easily, while others struggle their whole lives. But now I know it has nothing to do with talent. It has everything to do with the dominating thoughts that live in a person's mind. Let me give it to you plainly. If your mind is filled with fear, doubt, and hesitation, those thoughts will take root, and your subconscious mind will water them, nourish them, and eventually turn them into real experiences. You will experience failure, not because you are destined for it, but because you believed you were. But if you feed your subconscious mind with faith, with confident expectation, with a clear image of your success, then it will bring that image to life. It has no choice. That is the law of nature. Your mind does not question what you give it. It simply acts. When I began to understand the true nature of faith, I began experimenting. I would speak affirmations out loud every morning and every night. I would repeat statements such as, I am becoming successful. I am surrounded by abundance. I am confident, strong, and capable. At first, I didn't believe them, but I repeated them anyway. And something strange began to happen. My behavior changed, my outlook changed, and my results changed. I discovered that through repetition, especially when mixed with emotion, any thought could be planted into the subconscious mind. And once planted, that thought would grow and produce fruit. Whether that fruit is sweet or sour depends entirely on what you've planted. So I ask you now, what are you planting in the garden of your mind? Are you sowing seeds of courage or seeds of fear? Are you cultivating wealth, or are you cultivating poverty through negative expectation? It's not enough to simply want success. Millions of people want success, but few get it. The difference lies in belief. If you believe you will succeed, if you believe so deeply that your whole being acts as if it is already done, then your subconscious mind will begin to move you. the people around you, and the circumstances of life toward that outcome. You do not have to wait. You do not have to ask for permission. You can start today, right now, by writing down your chief aim in life and repeating it to yourself every morning and every night. But here's the key. You must repeat it with feeling, with passion, with belief. Don't just say the words. Feel them, see them, live them. When you do this, something happens. You begin to magnetize your thoughts. Your thoughts begin to draw in similar thoughts from the infinite ether that surrounds you. This is not magic. This is not superstition. This is vibration, energy, and the natural law of the universe. Everything in the universe vibrates. Thoughts are vibrations. When you think about poverty, you vibrate in harmony with it, and you attract more of it. When you think about wealth, success, and purpose, you vibrate in harmony with that, and the universe responds accordingly. That is why I urge you to take control of your mind. Don't allow the negative suggestions of others, family, friends, or society to dominate your thoughts. Stand guard at the door of your mind. Choose only the thoughts that serve your definite purpose. If you say to yourself every day, I am successful, but then spend the rest of the day complaining, worrying, or doubting yourself, then your efforts are wasted. Faith must be consistent. It must be dominant. It must be felt in the core of your being. I have seen this work not once, not twice, but thousands of times. I've seen men with no education build empires. I've seen women with no money become magnets of opportunity. I've seen the crippled walk, the hopeless rise, and the broken become whole again, all because of the simple but powerful emotion we call faith. You must act as if what you want is already yours. Speak like it, walk like it, think like it. Your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. So imagine well. You may ask, but what if I feel like a fraud? What if I don't believe it yet? That's okay. Keep going anyway. Pretend. Yes, pretend. Because what you pretend with intensity and emotion eventually becomes your truth. That is not deception. That is creation. Let the world call it delusion. Let them laugh. Because one day they'll watch as your thoughts become your reality. They'll call it a miracle, but you'll know it was faith. Faith is the starting point of all achievement. It is the foundation of every miracle that science cannot explain. It is the one and only antidote to failure. And the best part? It's already inside you. Your job is to bring it to life. There was a time in my own life when doubt ruled over me like a king. I would look around and see others climbing toward their dreams while I felt stuck, unsure, and overwhelmed by the thought that I might never become anything. But let me tell you something from experience. Doubt is a liar. Doubt is the thief that robs you before you ever get started. And the only weapon powerful enough to defeat doubt is faith. Faith is not some passive hope. It is an active force. It is a decision you make over and over again until it becomes part of your identity. And I can promise you this. Once you begin to act and speak with faith, the world starts to move differently around you. When I first met Andrew Carnegie, I was young, unsure, and far from confident. But he saw something in me. He told me that success could be achieved by anyone who understood the power of belief. He said that riches, whether in money or happiness, begin in the mind and only in the mind. He challenged me to spend the next 2 decades of my life proving it. And I did. What I found changed my life forever. The most successful people in the world had one thing in common: an unshakable belief that they would win, no matter what. They may not have known how or when or through whom, but they never doubted that they would arrive. That belief acted like a compass, and it always led them forward. You must build that compass inside your mind. That compass is your vision, your definite purpose, your burning desire, and the belief that it is already on its way to you. That belief becomes faith, when you feel it so deeply that no failure, no rejection, no delay can shake it. Too often people treat their dreams like fragile wishes. They say things like, "I hope it happens," or "maybe one day." That kind of thinking guarantees defeat. The mind does not respond to maybe. The subconscious mind responds to certainty. So speak with certainty. Speak with clarity. Speak with the voice of someone who already possesses the life they dream about. Not someday, but now. I used to spend hours each day picturing myself as the man I wanted to become. I would close my eyes and see him walking, talking, working, succeeding. I gave that vision detail, emotion, and repetition. I made it so real that I started to believe it. And once I believed it, I started to become it. This is not fantasy. This is not pretend. This is how every invention, every company, every fortune has ever come into existence. It starts in the mind. Everything you see around you, every building, every car, every invention was once just a thought. And someone had enough faith to believe that their thought was real before the world could see it. If they could do it, why not you? I've interviewed men who came from dirt floors and empty plates. They had no college degrees, no financial backing, no wealthy parents. But they had desire, they had faith, and they repeated that desire with so much emotional force that their subconscious minds began working around the clock to bring it into form. The mind, once fixed upon a goal with faith, becomes like a magnet. It attracts ideas. It pulls in people. It notices opportunities. And more importantly, it changes you. You become the type of person who deserves the goal you're after. The change begins inside. Too many people wait for the world to change before they believe. They say, "When I see it, I'll believe it." But that's not how faith works. Faith says, "When I believe it, I'll see it." And that one shift makes all the difference. Faith has built empires. Faith has cured disease. Faith has lifted nations. And faith, when placed in yourself and in a definite purpose, can create a life far beyond anything you've imagined. But how do you build faith when you've been broken? When you've failed again and again? When the evidence of your past seems to say you'll never rise? You start small. You start where you are. You write down one powerful positive statement about who you are becoming. You read it out loud every day, with emotion, with conviction, and you don't stop, even when you don't believe it yet, even when your reality doesn't match your words. You keep going, because your mind is always listening, and with enough repetition, it will start to believe you. Let me give you a warning, though. The subconscious mind doesn't care whether your thoughts are true or false, good or bad. It simply acts on what it's given, especially if those thoughts are repeated with emotion. This is why so many people live lives filled with lack, sickness, and despair, not because they want those things, but because they think about them constantly. They talk about their problems. They dwell on their failures. They repeat negative thoughts day after day, and their subconscious mind makes them real. This is why you must guard your thoughts like a precious treasure, because they are. Every time you speak of your limitations, you reinforce them. Every time you say, "I can't," your mind believes you. And every time you say, "I will," your mind gets to work proving you right. You have to become the master of your own inner conversation. Speak only what you want to see. Feel only what you want to grow. The subconscious mind is your servant, but only if you learn to command it with intention. This is where autosuggestion becomes your greatest tool. Autosuggestion simply means deliberately feeding your mind with the thoughts you want it to act upon. And the best way to do that is by repeating powerful statements, mixed with faith, morning and night. Statements like, "I am worthy of success. I am growing stronger and smarter every day. I attract opportunities and wealth with ease. My thoughts are powerful, focused, and positive." Say them aloud. Say them like you mean them. and say them often, because the more you hear yourself say something, the more it becomes part of who you are. Eventually, your subconscious will begin to accept these ideas as truth. And once that happens, your actions, your habits, and your results will begin to align with the new beliefs you've planted. You are not stuck. You are not broken. You are not too late. You are powerful beyond measure, and faith is the key that unlocks that power. Don't wait for motivation. Motivation fades. Discipline fades. But faith grows stronger every time you use it. When you feel fear, speak faith. When you feel doubt, speak belief. When you feel lost, declare your direction. You have that ability. Use it. Because if you don't program your own mind, the world will do it for you. And the world is full of noise, distraction, and fear. You must rise above that. The people I studied didn't wait for someone else to tell them who they were. They decided, they declared, and they acted. And they kept acting even when no one else believed. You must do the same. The road to success is not paved with comfort. It is paved with courage. And courage is born from faith. You may not have all the answers. You may not have all the resources. But if you have faith, and I mean real, burning, unshakable faith, then you have everything you need to begin. Because once you begin, momentum will carry you. Ideas will come. People will arrive. Doors will open. But first, you must believe. I often tell people, if you want to test the power of faith, don't look for it in easy times. Look for it in the storms. Because when everything seems to be working against you, when your plans collapse, when people leave, when money disappears, and the world turns cold, that is when your faith is either proven or exposed. You don't need faith when everything is perfect. You need it when everything is falling apart. That's when you stand tall, not because you see the outcome, but because you believe in it. I have walked through dark seasons in my life. I have known failure, rejection, and the sting of doubt. I have questioned my own value, my own ideas, and my own worth. But through those seasons, I kept reminding myself, thoughts are things, and if I want different results, I must think different thoughts. You see, the world around you is nothing more than a reflection of what's inside you. If you are filled with fear, your experiences will mirror it. But if you are filled with faith, confidence, and courage, life bends to meet that energy. That's the truth. But it's not just about repeating positive statements. It's about building emotion behind them. The subconscious mind does not respond to words alone. It responds to feeling. That's why you must feel your affirmations as if they are already true. That's why you must walk, talk, and breathe like the version of yourself that already exists in your vision. When you do this with consistency, something magical happens. You begin to believe your own story. And belief is everything. Belief turns struggle into fuel. It turns fear into fire. It turns a wish into a plan. This is how the mind works. It doesn't care what you feed it, good or bad. It will take that input, accept it as truth, and go to work on turning it into reality. And so, if you constantly think about failure, your subconscious will guide you toward it, not because it wants you to fail, but because it believes that's what you want. Your mind is obedient. It simply follows orders. This is why self-talk is not optional, it's essential. What are you telling yourself each day? Are you saying, I can't do it? I don't have what it takes. I'm not good enough. I'll never succeed. Or are you saying, I am capable. I am powerful. I am destined for greatness. I am getting better every single day. You are the author of your identity. And the words you repeat are the sentences you write in the book of your future. Now let me give you a deeper truth. Faith not only activates your subconscious mind, it also aligns you with infinite intelligence. That's the unseen, unlimited, universal force that has built empires, created miracles and shaped destinies. You may call it God, or the universe, or spirit. The name doesn't matter. What matters is your ability to connect with it. Faith is that connection. When your mind is filled with belief and purpose, you begin to receive ideas you didn't have before. Sudden inspiration, unexpected opportunities, people showing up at just the right time. These are not accidents. These are answers. The world begins to work with you because you have become aligned with a higher vibration. Your faith activates that vibration. I cannot stress this enough. What you believe becomes what you experience. The universe doesn't care if your belief is positive or negative. It simply reflects it. So if you walk around thinking, I'm broke, I'm unlucky, life is unfair, then don't be surprised when your experience proves you right. You've commanded your mind to find evidence of that belief. But if you say, money flows to me, I attract the right people, everything is working in my favor, and you say it with conviction, emotion, and faith, then your reality begins to shift. And no, it's not overnight, but it is certain. Faith is not about speed. It's about certainty. It's about holding your belief even when the evidence isn't there. Especially when the evidence isn't there. Because you're not reacting to the world, you're creating it. If more people understood this, the world would change. Think about this. Every day, you have thousands of thoughts. Most of them are recycled, repeated habits. What would happen if even half of those thoughts were rooted in faith, in success, in belief? Your life would change in weeks, not years, weeks. I'm not here to give you shallow motivation. I'm here to give you truth, real power, real transformation. This is what I have seen in my life. This is what I have witnessed in the lives of hundreds of successful men and women. It always starts with thought, and that thought, when wrapped in emotion and faith, becomes unstoppable. There's a reason why some people seem to rise effortlessly. It's not luck. It's not fate. It's mental discipline. They have trained their mind to believe. And because they believe, they receive. You can do the same. You can start right now. Write down what you want. Read it out loud every day. Visualize it. Feel it. Speak it. Live it. Don't let your current circumstances define your future. Don't let your past dictate your potential. You are not your history. You are your intention. Build that intention with faith. And when fear comes knocking, and it will, you respond with even greater belief. You say, I choose faith. I choose purpose. I choose victory. Because that's who you are now. A creator, a builder, a visionary. It doesn't matter if no one else believes. What matters is that you do, and you will. Because now you know the secret. Faith is the master key. When I speak of faith, I do not speak of blind belief. I speak of practiced faith. No, faith you build the same way a blacksmith shapes metal. Through heat, repetition, and unbreakable focus. You do not wait for faith to appear. You forge it each day when you speak words of power, when you act despite fear, when you move forward even with uncertainty. You are forging faith. You are proving to yourself and to the universe that your mind, your will, your desire are stronger than your doubt. And in time, something shifts. The fear begins to fade. The hesitation becomes less. The dream grows louder than the noise of the world. But I must warn you, the world will not encourage you to believe. It will ask for proof. It will demand results before you've even had time to build your foundation. The world respects what it can see, but faith deals in the unseen. That's what makes it powerful. You must be the one who believes first. Who decides before anyone claps for you, before anyone buys from you, before anyone supports your idea? You must light the fire before the world sees the flame. That is the price of success. That is the path of the visionary. When I interviewed the most powerful industrialists, entrepreneurs, inventors, and thinkers of my era, I saw one pattern over and over again. These men and women had no more intelligence than others. They had no special advantage. They had belief. They had obsession. They had the ability to see things before others could. Their faith led the way. I remember sitting across from men who were laughed at, doubted, even ridiculed. And yet they smiled. They worked. They built. And soon, the same people who once called them foolish began calling them geniuses. Do not wait for the applause. Let your results speak when the time is right. Until then, keep your faith private if you must. But never let it go. Feed it daily. Speak to it. Grow it. It will become your greatest asset. And here's the truth. Faith is contagious. When others feel your certainty, when they see your conviction, when they sense your quiet fire, they begin to believe too. Not just in you, but in what's possible for them. That's how movements are born. That's how companies are built. That's how nations rise. It begins with one soul on fire. Will you be that soul? Will you be the one who holds faith when everyone else folds? Will you be the one who walks forward when the path isn't visible? That's where greatness lives. Not in talent, not in luck, in the stubborn refusal to give up. And faith makes that refusal possible. Now, let me give you something practical. If you want to build faith that lasts, don't wait for motivation. Motivation is a visitor. Faith is a resident. Build habits that serve your belief. Surround yourself with voices that feed your vision. Eliminate anything that speaks against your potential, even if that voice comes from your own mind. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Repeat your vision every morning. Repeat your identity every night. Speak your future as if it's already your present. Speak with tone. Speak with conviction. Speak until you feel it vibrate in your chest. That's when you know your subconscious is listening. And when your subconscious listens, it moves mountains. Let me be clear. There is no secret formula to success beyond this. Thoughts become things. That is the law. But only thoughts that are believed, that are emotionalized, that are repeated until they become part of your spiritual DNA. That is when the magic begins. That is when infinite intelligence steps in and begins to move things on your behalf. Things you couldn't control. Things you didn't even know you needed. You begin to attract people, events, situations, and resources that align perfectly with your desire. But none of that begins without faith. I've watched brilliant people fail because they refused to believe. And I've watched ordinary people rise to power because they did. So ask yourself, what do I really believe? Not what you say out loud, but what lives inside. Because that belief is writing your story right now. And the beautiful thing, you can rewrite it. Right now, this second, you can decide that fear no longer has power over you. You can decide that the past no longer defines you. You can decide that you are capable, worthy, and chosen for more. Say it, feel it, live it. This is your new truth. No more doubting. No more waiting for permission. No more shrinking to fit into spaces that are too small for your vision. Expand. Let faith fill every corner of your mind. Let it flood your chest with courage. Let it lift your voice with power. Let it carry your actions with certainty. You are not a product of your circumstances. You are a product of your thoughts. Choose them wisely. Speak them boldly. Live them fearlessly. Because faith, true faith, is not silent. It roars. It commands. It creates. And once you begin living from that place, you will never go back. Your goals will no longer be maybe. They will be when. Your dreams will no longer be distant. They will be inevitable. And your life? It will no longer be ordinary. It will be designed, shaped, and molded by the force of belief. That is the life I chose. That is the life you can choose. And when you do, the world will make room. Because nothing, absolutely nothing, is more powerful than a mind made up. There's a reason I began my journey with nothing but a notebook, a desire and faith. And there's a reason I ended up with insights that have helped millions. I was not the smartest man. I did not come from wealth, but I believed that there was a system to success, and that belief alone pushed me to seek answers that changed my life and the lives of so many others. One of the greatest truths I ever uncovered was this: the subconscious mind is always awake. It never sleeps. While your body may rest, your mind is constantly at work, organizing, absorbing, and translating your dominant thoughts into reality. If you feed it fear, it will manifest fear-based experiences. If you feed it faith, it will generate results rooted in confidence, peace, and abundance. That's not theory, that's law. And once I understood that, I became intentional about every thought I allowed into my mind. I treated my mind like a garden. Every thought was either a weed or a seed, and I became ruthless in pulling the weeds. Doubt, gone. Worry, removed. Pessimism, not allowed. And in place of those, I planted seeds of faith. I repeated daily, I am capable. I am worthy. I'm a magnet for success. The right people and opportunities are coming to me. Money flows to me with ease. I create value. I serve others. I win. Do you think those words had no effect? They had the effect of reshaping my identity. That's the secret few understand. Your words don't just describe your life, they define it. When you speak with conviction, your subconscious listens. And once the subconscious accepts an idea, it begins to act on it automatically. You become the person you declare yourself to be. So choose your declarations carefully. Let me tell you a story. In my early days of study, I met a man who had failed in 5 different businesses, bankrupt, broke, rejected by investors. He came to me not for strategy, but for hope. He wanted to know if it was still possible to succeed after so much failure. I asked him one question: do you believe you can? He hesitated. He wanted to say yes, but his face said no. And I told him, until that belief changes, nothing else will. So I gave him a task. Every day for 60 days, he had to speak out loud for 10 minutes. I believe I am successful. I attract profitable ideas. I deserve abundance. I am becoming the person I was meant to be. He felt foolish at first. He didn't believe the words. But he said them anyway. Day by day, his energy changed. His confidence returned. He started walking differently, talking differently. And soon, he had a new idea, one that gained traction. This time, investors listened. This time, partners believed. This time, it worked. And all he had really done was believe. That's the power of autosuggestion. That's the power of faith repeated. It's not just inspiration, it's transformation. And it's available to you right now. But here's the important part. It must be done in the present tense. Your subconscious mind does not understand I will. It only understands I am. So don't say I will be rich. Say I am rich. Don't say I will be confident. Say I am confident. Say it until it becomes your default identity. Let the world catch up to your words. Speak your future as if it's now, and the world will bend to match it. I know this sounds too simple, too good to be true, but the truth is often simple. The difficult part is consistency. You must repeat these thoughts daily, especially when things go wrong. When you lose money, speak abundance. When you feel weak, speak strength. When people doubt you, speak power. Because what you say during the storm determines how you survive it. It is not your environment that creates your destiny. It is your expectation. People ask me, Napoleon, how do I get faith when everything around me is falling apart? My answer, you don't wait for faith. You build it, brick by brick, word by word, repetition by repetition. You must become obsessed with your own growth. You must treat your vision like oxygen. If you stop believing, you stop breathing. That's how serious this must become. If you want uncommon results, you must develop uncommon faith. Let me ask you this. Do you think the men and women who built skyscrapers, who launched empires, who changed the world, do you think they waited until they were ready? No, they decided they were ready, and that decision activated the power inside them. You must make the same decision. Today, you must decide that from this moment forward, fear no longer runs your life, that you are the one in control, that you are the author, the builder, the force behind your future. And when that decision is made, not with hesitation, but with conviction, everything begins to change. You think differently, you feel differently, you act differently, and that is when your reality begins to shift. Not because the world changed, but because you did, and the world had no choice but to follow. There were times in my own life when I felt invisible. I was doing the work, reading the books, practicing the affirmations, and yet nothing seemed to change. I was planting the seeds, but no harvest came. The doubt crept in, but I held on to one truth. Faith is a seed, not a switch. It doesn't change your life in a moment. It grows into your life with practice. Slowly, quietly, faithfully. And that's what I want you to remember when you're tempted to give up. When you're speaking affirmations and you feel like a liar. When you're visualizing success, but your reality is still full of struggle. Keep going. You're not failing, you're forming. The person you are becoming is taking shape under the surface. You don't see roots growing, but that's where all the strength is built. You don't see muscles forming on the first day in the gym, but every rep counts. The same is true with belief. Every repetition rewires your mind. Every affirmation is a chisel to the statue of your future. But most people quit before the miracle happens. Most people dig up their seed right before it breaks the surface. Not you. You're different. You now understand the law. You've seen behind the curtain. You've been told the truth, and the truth is this. The subconscious mind cannot ignore what is repeated with feeling. It has no choice but to accept it. It doesn't argue. It doesn't debate. It simply says, "Yes, master." And so, if you feed it, "I am not good enough," it says yes. But if you feed it, "I am powerful, I am deserving, I am wealthy," it says yes just the same. That is why I tell you, deceive your subconscious if you must. Act as if the money is already there. Walk as if the business already exists. Speak as if the success has already come. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. But once it believes, it makes it real. That's what I did. Before my books sold, before anyone knew my name, before success knocked on my door, I lived in the reality I wanted to create. I saw it so clearly that it became more real to me than my bank account, my surroundings, or my past. That is the secret to all achievement. Live in the vision, not the visible. Let me ask you, are you more loyal to your circumstances or to your possibilities? Most people are loyal to their limitations. They defend their problems. They explain their fears. They justify their small thinking. But you must be loyal to your power. Defend your dream. Explain your greatness. Justify your faith. That's how you flip the script. Every great man I interviewed had one thing in common, an unshakable sense of purpose. Whether it was Carnegie, Edison, Ford, or Rockefeller, they all believed deeply in what they were building. And that belief gave them stamina. That belief gave them focus. That belief gave them fire when others would have quit. They were not just building businesses. They were building futures. They were building nations. And at the foundation of it all was belief. Let me give you a hard truth. Most people don't need more education. They need more conviction. They know what to do. They've read the books. They've watched the videos. But knowledge without belief is paralyzed. You can have all the tools in the world, but if your mind whispers, "I can't," those tools stay in the box. So how do you flip the switch? Repetition, emotion, visualization. Repetition rewires the mind. Emotion amplifies the signal. And visualization gives the brain a target. Let me tell you exactly how I did it. Every morning I read my definite chief aim out loud. Not once, not quietly, but multiple times, with passion, with volume, with certainty. I made myself feel it. I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action toward its attainment. I didn't just read it, I declared it. And slowly, day by day, I believed it. It changed how I walked. It changed how I spoke. It changed how others saw me. It changed the doors that opened. Faith has energy. It cannot be hidden. The world responds to your vibration. If you vibrate at the level of fear, you attract fearful things. But if you vibrate at the level of certainty, abundance, confidence, you attract everything aligned with that. You don't chase success. You attract it. You magnetize it. You become a beacon and the results come to you. But only if the signal you're sending is clear. So I ask you again, what signal are you sending today? Are you vibrating as someone who is worthy or someone who is waiting? You must stop waiting to become that person and start being that person. Success is not something you get. It's something you allow, something you permit, something you embody. Faith is the permission slip. It says, I no longer need proof. I have decided. And once the decision is made, the path begins to appear. The world rearranges around your expectation. Things that seemed impossible become probable. People who were out of reach become friends. Ideas that once intimidated you now excite you. And you begin to realize, I was never waiting on the world. The world was waiting on me. I have often said, a man becomes what he thinks about most of the time. That isn't just philosophy, it's physics of the mind. Thoughts carry vibration. Vibration attracts its own kind. Like attracts like. If you think in terms of poverty, you will find yourself surrounded by it. If you think in terms of abundance, opportunities will chase you down. But here's what most people miss. The power isn't just in the thought. It's in the emotion attached to the thought. That's what gives it life. That's what gives it weight. That's what turns a passing idea into a commanding force. Now imagine mixing the emotion of faith with your most persistent desire. Imagine fueling your goal with the belief that it must happen. Not should, not could, but must. That's when the impossible begins to bend. You see, faith is not only a mental tool, it's a spiritual currency. And once you begin to invest it into your purpose, the universe begins to respond. Things shift. People show up. Circumstances align. But none of that can happen until you are aligned internally. The subconscious mind doesn't work for the confused. It works for the certain. So if your mind says, maybe I'll win, and then says, maybe I won't, it takes no action. But if your mind says, I will, I already have, I am becoming, then the machinery of your life begins to turn with purpose. That is the difference between drifting and driving. Most men drift. Few take the wheel. Now, I want to share something personal. There was a time when I had no money, no reputation, no clear plan. I had just been given the assignment to study the world's most successful people and uncover the secrets of their wealth. But no one knew my name. No one was paying me. All I had was a notebook and belief. But I told myself daily, this work will matter. This message will spread. This book will change lives. And for years, nothing happened. No success, no reward. But I kept going. I kept believing. And then it happened. The doors began to open. People began to listen. The words began to reach the ears they were meant for. And what started as a whisper in my mind became a roar in the world. That is the journey of faith. You walk first. The path appears second. And as you walk, the world watches. It tests your resolve. It delays the reward. It dares you to quit. But if you keep walking, you arrive. Always. I want you to understand this. Every successful person you admire once stood where you are. They had no evidence, no applause, just a voice inside that said, keep going, and they listened. So listen to yours. Don't silence it with doubt. Don't poison it with fear. Don't bury it under excuses. Feed it, speak to it, protect it. Your inner voice is not just fantasy. It is future. It is the part of you that already knows what you're capable of, even if the world hasn't seen it yet. And that's why you must act as if it's already done. When you walk into a room, walk like a man of purpose. When you speak, speak like a leader. When you plan, plan like it's inevitable. Not arrogant, certain. There's a difference. Certainty doesn't say, look at me. It says, watch what I build. And when you move like that, you attract others who move like that. And that creates momentum. And momentum creates results. And results rewrite your life. But it all starts with you. With your thought, your belief, your repetition. This is why I have always said faith is the starting point of all accumulation of riches. Not talent, not timing, not background. Faith. And if that feels too simple, good. Because the truth is always simple. The question is, will you do it? Will you say the words? Will you visualize the life? Will you claim the future? Or will you keep waiting for a sign that you were born to create? Let this be your sign. Let this be your moment. Let this be the day you stop wishing and start believing. Let this be the hour where you walk into your power and refuse to apologize for your dreams. You don't owe the world an explanation. You owe yourself a future. One built by belief. One built by action. One built by a mind so clear, so focused, so faithful that nothing can shake it. That is who you are becoming. That is who you already are. And the more you repeat it, the faster you'll see it. So repeat it daily, with emotion, with fire, with purpose. Because every word you speak in faith is a brick in the foundation of your destiny. If I had to leave you with just one message, just one truth that could echo in your mind for the rest of your life, it would be this. You already have everything you need. Not in your wallet, not in your connections, not in some book you haven't read or opportunity you haven't found. No, you already have it within you. I've seen it over and over again. Men who came from dirt, women who had no education, dreamers with no map, believers with nothing but a whisper of vision and a heart full of faith. And they created empires because they didn't wait to be ready. They didn't beg for someone to validate them. They didn't depend on luck or fate or timing. They depended on one thing, faith in themselves. And from that faith, they acted. They spoke differently. They showed up with energy. They refused to be average. They refused to bow to fear. They decided and life responded. So now I ask you, what are you waiting for? A sign? A miracle? A voice from heaven? This is your sign. This is your miracle. This is the voice you've been waiting for, echoing back from the future. You were always meant to claim. Because if no one has told you today, let me be the first. You are not average. You are not small. You are not powerless. You are a magnet. You are a force. You are a co-creator of your destiny. But only if you believe. Only if you train your belief. The same way a warrior trains his mind. Because yes, faith can be trained. And you train it with repetition, with auto-suggestion, with daily declarations that overpower doubt. With thoughts so dominant, they choke out fear before it has a chance to speak. That's how I trained mine. I didn't wake up one day with confidence. I wasn't born into wealth or privilege. I wasn't handed success on a silver platter. I built it, thought by thought, word by word, hour by hour. Even when no one clapped. Even when the voices of fear were louder than truth. Even when failure knocked again and again. I kept going. Because the mind I was building wasn't built for applause. It was built for impact. And the same is true for you. You don't need the world's permission to be great. You just need your own decision. And once that decision is made, really made, everything changes. That's when you stop asking for approval. That's when you stop doubting your power. That's when you stop shrinking to fit into boxes that were never built for you. That's when the world sees you differently, not because you changed on the outside, but because your mindset became undeniable. Remember, your subconscious mind is listening always. It listens when you complain. It listens when you compare. It listens when you say, maybe I'm not good enough. But it also listens when you say, I am ready. I am strong. I am success in motion. So say those things every day, every moment, not as fantasy, but as fact. And let the repetition shape your reality. Let the vibration become magnetic. Let your energy become impossible to ignore. That's how legacies are made. That's how ideas become empires. That's how the whisper of a dream becomes the roar of a movement. All from one choice: to believe. To believe before the evidence. To believe before the proof. To believe before the money, before the applause, before the victory. And that belief, held with emotion mixed with purpose, spoken with fire, will become the most powerful force in your life. It will attract the people you need. It will open the doors you thought were closed. It will take your definite chief aim from paper to palace. But only if you repeat, only if you act, only if you decide. So decide now. Don't wait for another chapter. Don't wait for another book. Don't wait for the right moment, because the right moment is this one. This breath, this beat, this whisper of truth in your heart that says, you are meant for more. You are not here to survive. You are here to soar, to rise, to speak, to build, to lead, to live fully, fearlessly, faithfully. And now it's time. Time to speak your declaration. Time to write your vision. Time to repeat the words that will change your world. Time to build the belief that will move mountains, part seas, and unlock miracles. And I promise you, from one believer to another, you won't recognize yourself a year from now. Because faith, when practiced, repeated, and reinforced, will change you. It will reshape your world. It will elevate your identity. It will make the impossible inevitable. Because faith is the eternal elixir. Faith is the foundation of all miracles. Faith is the only known antidote for failure. Faith is the power that connects you to infinite intelligence. Faith is the beginning of all riches. Faith is your superpower. Use it, live it, speak it, be it, and the world will never be the same again.